Dad, I'm telling you now, don't show up to your grandson's wedding. Just stay home. The words landed like a physical blow in our silent living room. I was frozen on the stairs, a 29-year-old woman caught like a child, accidentally hearing everything. My grandfather, a proud 78-year-old man, sank deeper into his worn-out armchair, his face going pale. "But it's my own grandson's wedding," he whispered, his voice cracking. "Exactly," my mother snapped from the kitchen doorway. "That's precisely the problem. We don't need you making us look cheap or awkward in front of Emily's relatives. Her father is a senior partner at the city's most prestigious firm. Her mother is a tenured professor. They're important people." My father stood over Grandpa, his voice hard and cold. "Listen to me. I am trying to build something for my kids, for our family's future. I cannot have you embarrassing us. You'll stay home. That's the end of it." "My name is Ava, and I'm 29 years old. I'm a freelance writer and I live in Portland." This nightmare began unfolding about 3 weeks before my brother Liam's wedding. Liam is 26, works in marketing, and was about to marry Emily, the daughter of one of the city's most well-connected attorneys. But to truly grasp the cruelty of that moment, you need to understand the undercurrents in our family. My father, Robert, owns a modest real estate development company. He's obsessed with his image, constantly reminding anyone who will listen that he's a self-made man. But here's the secret no one talks about. 15 years ago, when my father was buried in debt from a failed project, my grandfather, Henry, mortgaged the small house he owned to give him $15,000. For a retired Boeing technician living on a fixed pension, that was everything he had. But my father resented him for it. He once screamed at Grandpa, "Only 15 grand. Other guys get $500,000 from their parents. You're useless." I was 14, hiding behind my door, sobbing silently. And my mother, Clara, she was convinced Grandpa loved me more than Liam. The truth was simple. I was the only one who actually spent time with him. I visited him twice a week, brought him his favorite snacks, and listened to his stories about 35 years at Boeing. Liam only called when he needed someone to watch his dog or spot him some cash for a night out. But in my mother's mind, Grandpa's attention to me was a personal insult. Every small gift he gave me, an old book, a hand-knitted scarf, she'd grumble, "Why doesn't he ever give anything to Liam?" I tried to explain, but no one ever listened. Then the wedding planning began. It was going to be a massive, extravagant event at a historic downtown hotel, with 200 guests and a dinner costing a fortune per plate. Emily's family was powerful, the kind of people my parents desperately wanted to impress. And Grandpa Henry, he was seen as a liability, an embarrassment. It started with small things. My mother began talking about the problem of where to seat him. "We can't have him at the main family table," she said one evening. "He won't know how to act around people like the Thompsons." "What are you saying?" I couldn't believe it. "He's Liam's grandfather." "Ava, you don't understand the social dynamics," Liam chimed in, his voice dripping with my father's arrogance. "Emily's parents will judge our entire family. Imagine Grandpa showing up in that old suit from the 90s. How would that look?" I stared at my brother like he was a stranger. "Liam, that's our grandfather. He mortgaged his house to save Dad." "That's between them," Liam shot back. "It's got nothing to do with me." Before I could argue, my father cut me off. "Ava, go to your room. This is an adult conversation." I was 29 years old with a master's degree, completely independent, but in that house I was still the child who didn't understand. The following week, I watched my mother accidentally not give Grandpa an invitation. When he quietly asked about it, she said, "Oh, you live here with us, you don't need a formal invitation." But I knew the truth. They were deliberately pushing him out. Then came Thanksgiving, 2 weeks before the wedding. We were all at my parents' large house in the West Hills. The table was lavishly set, a perfect holiday scene. Grandpa arrived with a homemade apple pie, Liam's favorite since he was a kid. My mother barely glanced at it. "Just put it in the kitchen, Dad. We have more than enough desserts." I saw his face fall as he quietly set it down. Throughout the meal, no one spoke to him. They talked about the wedding, the venue, the DJ, the honeymoon in Hawaii. Grandpa sat silently at the end of the table, pushing food around his plate. I leaned over. "Grandpa, are you okay?" "I'm fine, my dear," he whispered, his voice soft so only I could hear. "As long as I see you kids healthy and happy, I'm happy." It broke my heart. After dinner, I found him on the back porch, staring at the garden. The Portland wind was cold and his jacket was too thin. "Grandpa, come inside." "I'm all right, sweetheart, just need some air." I stood with him. After a long silence, he asked, "So Liam is getting married. When will I see my granddaughter walk down the aisle? I'm focused on my career right now." "I know," he said quietly, "but don't end up like me. I spent my whole life working and now I feel like I have nothing." The sadness in his voice sent a chill through me. Before I could ask what he meant, my mother called from inside. "Ava, come help clean up." That was the last real conversation I had with him before the wedding. A week before the ceremony, I was at my parents' house picking up some documents when I heard shouting from the living room. My father's voice was thunderous. "I've made my decision. You are not coming to the wedding." Grandpa's voice was weak, trembling. "But Robert, please." "No buts," my father roared. "Do you have any idea who the Thompsons are? Edward Thompson is a partner at one of the biggest law firms in the state. Martha Thompson is a respected professor at Portland State. They have connections everywhere, and you're a retired technician living on Social Security. I am building a legacy for my children, and I cannot let you ruin it by looking like a charity case in front of them. You will stay home, period." I ran downstairs. "You cannot do this." My father spun around, his face red with rage. "This is not your business, Ava." "Yes, it is. He's our family. He mortgaged his house for you." "You don't understand business or social standing," my mother interjected coldly. "Edward Thompson could help your father land major contracts. We need to make the right impression. By abandoning Grandpa, by pretending he doesn't exist." "Ava, enough," my father snapped. "Go home or be quiet." I looked at Grandpa. He just sat there, hands shaking in his lap, staring at the floor. He didn't defend himself. He didn't fight. It was like he'd already given up. "Grandpa, if they won't let you go, then I'm not going either," I said. "No, sweetheart," he said, his voice hoarse. "You go. Liam is your brother. Don't miss this for me." "But Grandpa." "I'll be fine, dear. I'll be okay." The way he said it terrified me, but my father was already pushing me towards the door. "Go home, Ava, and do not cause any drama on your brother's wedding day." I left in tears, consumed with guilt. I called my friends. They all said the same thing. "Respect the family dynamics, don't make a scene. Your brother's wedding isn't the place for this." Maybe they were right. Maybe I was being too emotional. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The night before the wedding, I drove to Grandpa's small house in a working-class neighborhood in southeast Portland. The lights were all off. I knocked and knocked. No answer. His car was in the garage, so I knew he was home. Maybe he'd gone to bed early. I decided I'd come back in the morning before the ceremony, wedding day. The historic hotel sparkled. Crystal chandeliers, flowers everywhere. I was in my dusty rose bridesmaid dress, my makeup perfect, but I felt nothing but dread. I'd tried calling Grandpa all morning, straight to voicemail. The ceremony was beautiful. Emily looked stunning. Liam smiled nonstop. My parents beamed, working the room, especially around the Thompsons. Everything was perfect. But all I could think about was Grandpa, alone in his empty house. At the reception, I was sitting at the family table. My father stood up to give a speech. "Today is the most important day of my son's life. I want to welcome the Thompson family into ours. Liam, I'm so proud of the man you've become. Emily, welcome to the family." Everyone applauded. I clapped too, but my mind was screaming, what about Grandpa Henry, the man who gave everything for this family? Midway through the reception, my mother suddenly piped up. "Oh, we haven't gotten your wedding gift from Grandpa yet." Liam frowned. "Wedding gift?" "Yes," my mother said. "It's tradition. Grandparents always give a gift at weddings. Remember when Ava graduated high school?" He gave her that beautiful vintage watch. Liam's eyes lit up. "Oh, right, he hasn't given me anything yet. He should, it's a big day." I stared at them in disbelief. "Are you serious? You banned him from coming and now you're expecting a gift." "Ava, it's tradition," my mother said coldly. "Don't be dramatic. We'll stop by his house after the reception to pick it up." "You are all completely shameless," I whispered, but no one heard. They went back to their champagne and laughter. The party went on until almost midnight. As people were leaving, my parents, Liam and Emily, decided to drive over to Grandpa's. I followed, my stomach in knots. When we got there, the house was dark, no car in the driveway. My father used his spare key to open the door. He flipped the light switch and we all froze. The house was empty. No furniture, no pictures, no TV. Nothing but a few cardboard boxes and a single white envelope on the kitchen counter. My mother screamed. "Where is he?" "Where did Dad go?" My father grabbed the envelope and tore it open. He read the letter out loud, his voice shaking. "Dear family, by the time you read this, I will be settled into my new home at Mountain View Senior Community. I have sold this house and most of my belongings. After a lot of thought, and with Ava's help, I have made arrangements for my future. The money from the sale has been used as follows. I have prepaid for 3 years of care at Mountain View, so I will not be a burden to anyone. The remaining $47,000 has been donated to the Senior Connections Fund that Ava manages through her nonprofit. This money will help other elderly people in our community who are lonely and forgotten. I have come to understand that I have been a burden to this family. I am grateful for the years we had, but it's time for me to step away so you can live your lives without the embarrassment of a simple retired technician who doesn't fit into your world. Ava, my dearest granddaughter, you have always been my light. Thank you for respecting my wishes and helping me find a place where I feel valued. Please don't worry. The people here are kind. They treat me with genuine respect. For the first time in years, I feel like I matter. I wish Liam and Emily a lifetime of happiness. I understand why I couldn't be there. Please do not try to contact me. I have asked my lawyer, a Mr. David Sterling, to handle any family matters going forward. Take care of yourselves, Henry Mitchell." Silence. Then my father exploded. "He gave the money to some charity. That stubborn old man, that's our inheritance. He had no right." "Wait," my mother's head snapped towards me, her eyes blazing with fury. "Ava helped him, you knew about this." I started. "You helped him steal from this family," my father roared. "He didn't steal anything," I shouted back, my voice trembling with a mixture of fear and rage. "It was his house, his money. And yes, I helped him set up the fund because I actually care about what he wants. $47,000. Liam's voice was high and shrill. "That could have been a down payment for me. How could you let him throw it away on a bunch of random old people?" I looked at them, my father, my mother, my brother, and felt a wave of disgust so powerful it nearly knocked me over. Is money all you people care about? Grandpa just left the only home he's known for 40 years. He felt so rejected and alone that he had to leave, and all you can think about is the money. "Ava, you don't understand the pressure we're under," my father started. "No, now you're going to listen to me," I roared, my voice shaking the room. "For years, Grandpa loved this family unconditionally. He mortgaged his house to save you. He made things for Liam with his own hands. He sat through every family dinner, silently enduring your contempt. And today, on his own grandson's wedding day, he was banned because you were scared of being embarrassed. You don't know anything about social pressure," my mother tried to argue. "And you don't know anything about real family," I screamed, tears now streaming down my face. "Real family isn't just about blood, it's about showing up, it's about love and respect. Grandpa gave you that, and what did you give him? Nothing but shame." I turned to Liam. "And you? You only ever called him when you needed money or a favor. Did you ever once ask him about his life? Did you know he spent 35 years at Boeing building airplanes? Did you know he raised Dad all by himself after Grandma died? No, you never cared." Liam's face was red. "Well, you're not perfect either." "I'm not," I said, my voice dropping to an icy calm. "But at least I visited him. I was the only one." My father stepped forward, pointing a finger in my face. "That's enough. Ava, we'll call this lawyer Sterling and we'll demand that old man come back. We're his family. We'll have a meeting and straighten this out." "No," I screamed, slapping his hand away. "You will not harass him ever again. He made his wishes crystal clear. He wants peace, and I will make sure you respect that." "And what are you going to do about it?" my mother sneered. "I'm going to go see him. I'm going to make sure he's okay. And as for you people," I looked at each of them, my gaze like ice. "You should be deeply ashamed. You lost a wonderful man because of your own greed and arrogance. I hope you have to live with that every single day." I turned and walked out of that empty house, leaving them in stunned, silent shock. The next day I found Mountain View Senior Community. It was a well-kept, welcoming place with beautiful gardens. When I walked in, the atmosphere was warm, nothing like the sterile institutions I'd imagined. The receptionist, a friendly woman named Chloe, smiled when I asked for Henry Mitchell. "Oh, Mr. Henry, he's probably in the community room. Everyone loves him. Let me take you." As we walked, I saw residents chatting, staff members laughing with them. We passed a sunroom where people were painting. A nurse was helping a woman with her brush, both of them laughing. In the community room, I saw Grandpa sitting at a card table with 3 other residents. A young staff member named Marcus was teaching them a game. "Mr. Henry, you've got a great poker face," Marcus was saying, grinning. Grandpa chuckled, a real deep chuckle I hadn't heard in years. Then he looked up and saw me. "Ava, my dear." His face lit up. "Marcus, this is my granddaughter I told you about, the writer." Marcus stood and shook my hand warmly. "He talks about you all the time, says you're the only one who remembers his birthday." My throat tightened. Grandpa asked his new friends for a moment. An elderly woman named Margaret patted his hand. "We'll be here for the next round, Henry, and you're still coming to movie night, right?" "Wouldn't miss it, Margaret." I watched them go, then sat down next to Grandpa. We were quiet for a moment. "Are you angry with me?" he asked softly. "Angry? No, Grandpa, I'm heartbroken it came to this, but I'm not angry. I helped you because I respect you." "You were the only one who listened," he said. "When I first mentioned this place to you last summer, you didn't tell me I was being silly. You actually came and toured it with me. You helped me understand the paperwork." I remembered that day. We'd spent hours here, meeting staff, looking at rooms. We saw how the nurses knew everyone's names, how they asked about their families, their lives. "The people here actually care, Ava," Grandpa continued. "This morning, a nurse named Lisa brought me coffee. She remembered I take it with 1 sugar and a splash of milk. She remembered from my first day here." He paused. "When's the last time your mother remembered how I take my coffee?" Never, I thought. She never bothered to learn. At dinner last night, people asked me about my life. They actually wanted to know. Margaret asked about Boeing. Another resident, Robert, used to work in aviation too. We talked for hours. When's the last time anyone in our family asked me about my work? Never, they never cared. And the best part, Grandpa smiled, a real smile. No one here looks at me like I'm a burden. No one sighs when I talk. They actually listen, Ava, they actually see me. And I understood. Here, he wasn't the embarrassing old man in a cheap suit. He was Henry Mitchell, Boeing veteran, gardener, grandfather, a person with value. "The fund you're managing," he said. "I wanted to help people like me, elderly folks who feel invisible. Maybe we can fund programs that bring young volunteers to visit. Maybe we can pay for activities that give them meaning." I'd been running a small nonprofit focused on community storytelling. Grandpa was the only family member who ever read my blog posts or asked about my work. "I'll make sure every penny makes a difference," I promised. "I know you will, sweetheart. You've always been the best of us." Just then, Marcus returned. "Mr. Henry, sorry to interrupt, but it's almost time for the afternoon concert. The pianist from the university is here." "A concert? They have live music 3 times a week," Grandpa explained. "Students, local musicians. Last week we had a jazz quartet. It's wonderful. Will you stay?" "I'd love to." We went to the gathering hall where about 30 residents were settling in. The atmosphere was cheerful. A young pianist was at the grand piano. Staff helped people get comfortable, chatting with them. During the concert, I glanced at Grandpa. His eyes were closed, a peaceful smile on his face, completely lost in the music. When was the last time I'd seen him this content? That evening, as I was leaving, I saw him in the dining hall, laughing with a group. Marcus was telling a story, gesturing wildly, and everyone was cracking up. Grandpa looked 20 years younger. A week later, my parents and Liam tried to force a family meeting through Grandpa's lawyer, David Sterling. Sterling, a no-nonsense man in his 50s, met them in his office. I was there to support Grandpa. Sterling began, "Mr. Mitchell has instructed me to make it clear he wants no contact from the family for the foreseeable future. He sold his property legally. He allocated his funds as he saw fit. His care and his donation were executed according to his wishes and the law. He has every right to do so. But that's family money," my father objected. "Mr. Mitchell, that house was in Henry Mitchell's name. He had full ownership. He has the absolute right to sell it and allocate the proceeds. The donation was made to a legitimate nonprofit managed by your daughter. If you continue to harass Mr. Mitchell, we will file for a restraining order." My mother stood up furious. "That man is my husband's father. We have rights." "You have no rights here, ma'am," Sterling interrupted coldly. "Henry Mitchell is a competent adult. He has made his own decisions for his own life. Please respect them." Liam whispered. So, he doesn't want to see us anymore. Correct, except for Ava Mitchell, with whom he very much wishes to maintain a relationship. My father glared at me. What did you do? What did you tell him? I told him the truth, I replied calmly. And he made his own choice, a choice he'd been considering for months. You just never paid enough attention to notice. They left in frustration, but there was nothing they could do. The months that followed were an earthquake. My father's real estate company hit major trouble. A big project failed, leaving him hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. This time, there was no grandpa to mortgage his house and help. He had to figure it out himself, selling his luxury car, downsizing his office, mortgaging his own house. My mother had to cut spending drastically. No more shopping sprees, no more spa days. At first, she blamed everyone. But slowly in that scarcity, she started to look inward. She began to realize her priorities had been completely wrong. She'd valued status over love. Liam had it worse. His marriage to Emily lasted barely a year. She divorced him, realizing he was immature and financially unstable. He moved back in with my parents, working an entry-level job. One day, Liam volunteered at a soup kitchen as part of community service after a DUI. There, he met elderly volunteers who told him their stories, about being dismissed by their families, about loneliness. An old man named George told him, "Son, family isn't about what you can get. It's about what you give. Your time, your love just showing up." Those words hit Liam hard. As for me, I expanded the Senior Connections Fund. I started writing more, not just about Grandpa, but about all the elderly people I met. My blog went viral. Thousands shared the posts. Hundreds of elderly people emailed me their own stories of loneliness and neglect. The local newspaper did a feature story. The fund grew. We started programs connecting volunteers with isolated seniors. We funded activities at care facilities. We gave grants to elderly people to pursue hobbies. Every decision, Grandpa and I made together. And I visited him religiously twice a week. I watched him thrive. He'd gained weight. His eyes were bright. He had a community. One day, I arrived to find him teaching a woodworking class in the craft room. 6 residents were gathered around as he showed them how to sand a piece of pine. "My grandfather taught me this," he was saying. "It's meditative, the rhythm of the sanding, the smell of the wood." I stood in the doorway watching. This was Grandpa sharing his skills, his history. At home, no one had ever asked him to teach them anything. After class, we walked in his garden plot. It was thriving with tomatoes and herbs. "You know what I realized," he said. "I spent 40 years trying to earn my family's love, but love isn't something you earn. Real love is freely given, and these people here, they give it freely. Just like you always have, sweetheart." 2 years later, my family began to change. Slowly, painfully, but genuinely. My father rebuilt his company with more humility. My mother joined support groups and learned to live more simply. And Liam started therapy. He began volunteering regularly at a senior center, not because he had to, but because he wanted to. Then, one day, 3 years after that awful wedding, Liam showed up at Mountain View. I was sitting with Grandpa when he walked in, holding a homemade apple pie. "Grandpa," Liam said, his voice trembling, I'm so sorry. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I needed you to know that I finally understand. I understand everything I took from you and never gave back." Grandpa looked at him for a long moment. Then he smiled, not the sad smile from before, but a real one. "Come here, son." They hugged, both crying. Liam started visiting regularly. He brought his new girlfriend, a kind social worker. She and Grandpa talked for hours about elder care. My parents took longer, but eventually they came too. The first visit was awkward and tearful, but Grandpa, in his endless wisdom, forgave them. Not because they deserved it, but because forgiveness freed him too. It wasn't a fairy tale. Some wounds take years to heal, but they were healing. The Senior Connections Fund flourished. We helped over 200 elderly people in its first 3 years. We connected volunteers, funded art and music programs, and created garden projects. And every success I shared with Grandpa. "You know what the best part is?" he told me one day, sitting in his garden, his hands dirty from planting bulbs. "These flowers won't bloom for months, but I'm planting them anyway because I have months ahead of me. I have time. And for the first time in years, I'm not afraid of that time. I'm excited about it." That's when I knew he'd made the right choice. He hadn't given up on life. He'd reclaimed it. So if you were in my situation, what would you do? Would you have the courage to stand up to your family, or would you stay silent to keep the peace? Remember, family isn't just about sharing blood. It's about sharing your time, your love, and your presence. If this story touched you, please like and subscribe to Winds of Thought for more real-life stories. And sometimes the family you choose, or the one that chooses to truly see you, is the one that matters most. I don't owe my family my silence. I owe myself the truth. And I owe Grandpa Henry the love he always, always deserved.